Breaking news just out in the past couple of days in the case where I'm suing the West Virginia Family Court judge. If you've been following this, which you probably have, you know that a family court judge in West Virginia searched my client's house, brought law enforcement inside his house to look for items of alleged marital property against the will of my client. From day one, I believed that was a Fourth Amendment violation. A lot of people disagreed with me. The judge ended up being prosecuted with disciplinary charges. The West Virginia Supreme Court said that this was misconduct, these were constitutional violations, and issued a written censure of the judge from the West Virginia Supreme Court. So there was no doubt about that under state law, but she remained on the bench despite the punishments that she received. We filed a Section 1983 civil lawsuit that wound its way all the way through up to like 4 days within trial. And then the judge, having deprived her of judicial immunity, the family court judge then went on interlocutory appeal, which means before trial, because she has immunity, or allegedly, or seeking immunity, and appeals to the Fourth Circuit. It's at the Fourth Circuit right now, and the Institute for Justice has joined the case, and it's been fully briefed. We're waiting to hear whether or not there's oral argument. But she's still on the bench. And I just found out here in the past couple of days that the West Virginia legislature is apparently going to impeach her. And this is just amazing news. People keep asking, like, all right, well, you have a lawsuit seeking money damages, but where is the justice here? There's no criminal prosecution. The judge is still on the bench. There's no suspension, hasn't been removed. Well, at the end of the day, it is the West Virginia legislature that has the authority to remove judges. They've done it before. In fact, 5 or 6 or 7 years ago, they impeached the entire West Virginia Supreme Court of Appeals, nearly. But apparently the legislature has decided to move forward with impeachment proceedings. I'll link the article in the description. But apparently they've adopted an impeachment resolution to be introduced in the West Virginia House of Delegates. That's sort of just like with a presidential impeachment. If they impeach in the House of Delegates, then it goes to the West Virginia Senate for a trial. Apparently what is being discussed behind the scenes, though, is that the judge may be asked or may end up resigning short of that happening. One question I have is if she does not resign and it goes forward to an impeachment trial, does that mean that you would lose all of your pension and all that sort of thing? I don't know the answer to that. Perhaps we'll find out. So this is, again, all sort of news to me, but it was really cool to see that in this impeachment resolution, as described by the news article, they're actually looking at her responses to my questions during her deposition in the civil lawsuit. I think that's awesome, because here's what happened despite the fact that the West Virginia Supreme Court said that this is egregious misconduct that this judge did, and she deserves to be punished for it, during her deposition, after she was put under oath, she was basically saying, well, she disagrees, doesn't think she did anything wrong. I have a problem with that, and apparently a lot of the West Virginia legislators had a problem with that. How many of you would be interested in actually looking at the deposition transcript in this case? Perhaps I'll post it so you can actually read through it. For instance, some of the things that I asked her, in the Supreme Court opinion of which you were the respondent, the issue came up about whether your conduct consisted of a search or a view, which is what she called it. Is that right? Correct. Okay, and the Supreme Court, in their opinion, held that regarding the threshold question of whether you searched Mr. Gibson's home or whether you viewed it, the court said, we find that she searched it. Is that true? The answer, that's true. The Supreme Court found that you searched Mr. Gibson's home, right? Correct. Do you disagree that you searched Mr. Gibson's home? Yes. The Supreme Court rejected what they called your attempt to reframe your conduct, right? I disagree with the word reframe. They disagreed with my argument that it was not a search. The West Virginia Supreme Court further found that in so doing that you exercised executive powers forbidden to you under the West Virginia Constitution. Is that true? That is what they found. Okay, do you disagree with that? Yes. Okay, so it's actually a really fascinating deposition, and it's really part of history now, I guess, where it's going to make it into impeachment proceedings. And the case has gone national. So it's really exciting news, and I'll definitely do an update, see what happens. This is one of those ongoing cases because, again, it's still at the Fourth Circuit. So it's either going to go back to a jury trial on the issue of money damages in a Section 1983 case, Or maybe the judge wins at the Fourth Circuit and they say no, she should get judicial immunity, in which case we'll appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. So as always, thanks for watching. And if you want to continue following this case and other exciting cases involving unique civil rights issues, please make sure to subscribe. And also sign up at the blog at thecivilrightslawyer.com. Free email updates every time I post something new. Remember, freedom is scary. Deal with it. I'll see you next time.